Hi everybody, my name is Vapner. I'm the CTO at Kyndryl, and today we'd like to talk about cloud security and how cloud security is evolving. Today we have in the panel Oren Elimelech, security researcher, and Chen Goldberg, the CEO of CloudWize. Guys, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you. My name is Oren Elimelech. I'm the CEO and founder of Cyberteam 360, a cybersecurity firm out of Israel dealing with incident response, crisis management. We have a specialty in providing security holistic for organization. We're a global company focusing on security, helping organizations achieve their most security, mostly on cloud-focused security and next-gen security.
Perfect. Chen?
Hi guys, I'm Chen Goldberg. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CloudWize. CloudWize is an agentless solution to give maximum security and compliance to organizations.
Thank you, guys. So cloud security is evolving at a very quick pace. It means that enterprises look to maintain a strong cloud security posture. And they need to use cloud-native services, cloud-native tools in order to protect their data in the public cloud. Recent study predict that the global public cloud spending will reach to $600 billion by 2023, which means that enterprise shifting workloads from on-premise to the public cloud, to Amazon, to Google Cloud, to Microsoft Azure. So the first question that I have for you, what are the top cloud security challenges? Oren, we'll start with you.
Yes, thank you. So the top cloud security challenges are quite diverse today, mostly focusing on misconfiguration, on security vulnerabilities that security officers, CISOs, and CSO are not aware of. And organizations are actually open. They have so many open exposure in the trade landscape, so they need to be aware of this. And not having a risk-aware approach on those exposure vulnerabilities, whether it's from their supply chain or their own interfaces, is a big cause of concern. Also, focusing on the supply chain is understanding how do I transfer information, and how do I secure my digital assets that reside on the various clouds, whether if it's Azure, GCP, AWS. So I need to be in control of all this cloud expenditure that I'm using and working with, not only in terms of performance and managing it, but also securing it adequately with all the recent changes, publishing vulnerabilities, and this is a constant work. And most organizations don't have the necessary, neither the workforce or the skills in order to maintain this adequately in a secure manner.
Chen, the same question?
So according to what actually Oren mentioned, I think there are a few challenges in the cloud security specifically. The first one is the visibility. Nobody actually understands what's going on in the cloud environment. There is no one owner that you can tell he's the owner of the cloud. And when you don't have one person that has all the responsibility, things to get wrong. And we can see that there's a lot of stakeholders, each one of them involved in specific areas in the cloud. We have different names and titles. We have the DevOps, we have the SRE, we have the DevSecOps, we have the infra team, we have the IT, the CISO, and I can continue named it. And you see that each one of them has their own specific requirement. And when you don't have one single pane of glass of what's going on and what are the major risks, and you cannot prioritize and understand the trade-offs, then start the complexity. The complexity actually involved with breaches, involved with keep running after issues that happening in the cloud, and for security and compliance. We're seeing that in most of our customers in CloudWize that we want to reduce that overhead, give the visibility in one place, actually combine all the things that Oren mentioned, the vulnerability, identity, the penetration test, the OWASP top 10, everything in one place to give the customers and everyone that's involved today in the cloud understanding in a very simple way what they need to do and what to fix ASAP.
Perfect. So I strongly agree with you guys. So I think cloud security is evolving at very quick pace. It means that enterprise look to maintain a strong security posture. They use more cloud security services. They need to find a way to protect customers' data in the public cloud. At Kyndryl, we found out that the most common cloud security challenges start with how to secure the multi-cloud environment, our customers' environment, because they shift workloads from one cloud service provider to another. The second is the security compliance. The third is data lake, how we can secure their data lake environment, because they have tons of data and we need to secure it. And I think the fourth is how we can secure customers' landing zone, because in today's competitive world we live in today, customers especially want to deploy and implement landing zone, one in Amazon and one in Google Cloud, and it's very hard to protect those two cloud service providers at the same time. And I think another one is security visibility and lack of control that they have. We need to find more cloud security services in order to make sure that our customers will have more visibility, what's going on in their environment. Start with security vulnerability scanning and all the cloud native security solution in order to help them to understand what's going on in our cloud environment, how we can increase our security posture and protect their data against cybersecurity attacks. And I think the last one is how to protect customers' organization data against the most common cybersecurity attacks. Start with ransomware, phishing, and DDoS. I think cloud security services such as Google Cloud, Armor, and AWS Advanced Shield are great cloud-native security services to protect customers against DDoS protection. I have a question for you guys. How would you describe a cloud security center of excellence? Oren, you should start.
Thank you. So in my perspective, is having one coherent place in most areas, okay, is you have so many tools for so many other things. And for me, if I want to work, and I'm actually very familiar with CloudWize, and I think they do a very good job here, is having a single pane. You've both mentioned monitoring, so I need to have visibility. So I want to have a tool for visibility. I also need a tool for notification and alerts. So that's sometimes a different tool. I want to be able to get this data in one coherent dashboard, whether if it's also looking at the various compliance framework that my organization need to adhere to, whether those requirements come from customers or due to regulation and legal requirements or binding rules by our customers. So I want to have a right compliancy, also one framework, all in one dashboard, coherent, consolidating everything, and also understanding what are all the digital assets. You've mentioned, Ido, that having a multi-cloud platform, and today most organizations are not based on a single cloud repository. They can use multiple ones, whether if it's AWS, GCP, or Azure. So I want to have a single dashboard that consolidates everything to one single pane, okay? Having a platform that encompasses everything. And having such a tool provides for me all the visibility, and if this tool also provides me with an exposure on the attack surface, updates, vulnerabilities, that provides me a place that I can look into, understand my exposure, but not only this, also test it out, which means I'm able to actually validate those vulnerabilities I'm exposed to, whether those are coming from inside asset or actually expose external asset. And having one tool to govern them all, as you say in the rules of game, one tool to rule them all. Okay, this is not command and control, this is command and conquer, but again, the same concept. I want to be able to have one tool that provides me everything on my cloud initiative. And having this in my control, under my thumb point, is very important for me. And if that tools also be able to give me some ROI onto the expenditures and the performance aspect, then it's the best thing. Because usually most organizations go to best of breed, but the problem is best of breed that you need to have multiple best of breed, whether if it's on identity, management on the cloud, whether if it's for vulnerability, whether if it's for monitoring. Okay, I want to have one thing to look at everything, and also we need to be able to actually do the work, because today we're missing the skills. People are lacking in their expertise, but also in the terms of available personnel actually doing security. I'm not talking and complaining about that it costs too much, but actually having them available, ready to work.
Right.
So having one console to govern everything and be able to consolidate and makes all this data that I've mentioned approachable, and with a single click also leverage not only the gaps but also how to mitigate them. For me, that's an excellent tool.
Perfect. Chen, the same question. How would you describe the Cloud Security Center of Excellence?
Yeah, so if I'm looking at center of excellence or center of everything, specifically in the cloud, because there's a lot of data flow, we're talking about getting all the content and filter the content and give actually what matter to the client. Clients, customers need to get, when we're talking about time, when we're talking about breaches, they need to understand exactly what to do right away. We need to provide them the right content, the right context, as fast as we can, that they can actually understand and react fast. This is all about, center of excellence. Even of using different tools, combine them to get actually the understanding, the result, what is going on, what connected to each other, and reduce that operation, overhead. We want to have one platform that gives the right, the right content to the customer itself. And this is actually my belief that Center of Excellence should look like.
Perfect. I agree with you guys. I think it should be something like a platform with all the security best practices already built in it, and a few security tools that will help enterprise with their cloud transformation, because they need to protect their data, and they need tools like penetration testing, like security assessment, and something that will help them with compliance as well to increase the security visibility in their environment. So I think, by the way, CloudWize is the best way, correct me if I'm wrong, is also the ultimate platform for Cloud Center Security of Excellence. Can you tell me a little bit about CloudWize, Chen?
So actually at CloudWize, we took all the most important features and put them all together in one single pane of glass that customers after a few minutes can understand exactly who did what was changed, control their security posture, understand the vulnerability risk, understand the identity access management, internally and externally. Today, companies talking about external attack surface, but we should all talk about employees that leaving the companies with permissions, with overprivileged permissions, who control that, who know exactly what's going on in the cloud, if there are any shadow ITs, if there are any risks, what regard, the top 10 OWASP in the penetration test. And we give one solution, one pane of glass to understand exactly who did what and what was changed. And most important, because people get a lot of data, a lot of risk, and some of them have false positive. We give forensic tool, no-code solution, in enabling companies today, by drag and drop in an easy way to query their environment, understand the risk, do more forensics inside their cloud environment, and be continuously monitoring insights that running an alert, and also can do a change regard the how we react to risks. Meaning, once find a risk, you need to remediate that. You need to patch that. You need to prioritize what to do exactly. And we want to change the focus from reactive maintenance, that you getting alert, going into the platform or open ticketing the different ticketing system, Monday, Jira, etc., We want to change it and become proactive maintenance, meaning that the platform can auto-remediate some critical risk right away. And this is all about CloudWize, starting from the architecture design, going into production environment, and keep you safe.
Perfect. So the third question is shifting left and starting security from the beginning is something that we hear more about these days. Is shift left possible when it comes to cloud security? Oren, I would like to hear your question, to hear your answer.
Thank you. So shifting left usually in the development means that you want to move as early as possible in the development lifecycle. Okay, you want to deal with the issues before they grow and become more expensive and more difficult to manage. So definitely in cloud, if you're aware of new threats, new vulnerability, new exposure, a new exploit being used actively, and you take a preventative approach by having a policy to review your requirements, whether if it's something that you set as a baseline for yourself or as a requirement dictated by compliance, this is something that can definitely help you mitigate things before they mature. So if somebody, for example, set up a server exposed to an external RDP, you will get notification about it immediately. If there's a virtual machine or a service or a database, okay, that is exposed outside, whether if that's on the platform of SQL in Azure, or whether if that's an AMI machine sitting on AWS with its own local services, definitely knowing that you have such a vulnerability, for example, Log4j or anything else, is something that you want to be aware of as soon as possible and mitigate that before that grows to something that is much harder to deal with. For example, there's a new deprecation of TLS now being released to Azure starting next month. So you need to be aware that beforehand, before this grows to something is too late to handle. And having a platform, in this example, CloudWize, is able to notify that in advance. So these are examples for me shifting left and working with developers just as they set up on their development and QA environment before they move to production in order to mitigate such problems and issues before they become a much harder thing to tackle down the road.
Perfect. Oren, Chen, the same question. Is shift left possible when it comes to cloud security today?
So it depends of the maturity of the companies, because when we're talking about developers are security persona, right? And we give them the responsibility of shifting. It's some of the times it's very complex and difficult to them to manage that. And I think the right approach is to give them kind of a black box. Stay more and more companies using infrastructure as code. When you're talking about shift to the left, you also talk shift of the beginning. When actually I building those recipes, those templates in order to provision in the right way to the cloud, we want to scan those files, those infrastructure as a code templates such as Terraform, Helm chart, and notify to the DevSecOps, to the developers, and fix those things in those templates before they're going in production. When it's too late and you need to fix them in production, in that kind of process, I think it will be much more easier to developers and to the DevSecOps today to manage, because when they got it as a box and they don't need to go and mitigate that, someone is doing that for them. So it's going to be a win-win situation.
Perfect. So I will try to summarize. I think shift left, what Oren said and you together, shift left is to push security sooner to the development lifecycle, to SDLC. And we need to build a trust between engineering and DevOps, SRE as well, in order to work as a single team, as a single unit, to resolve the technical issues, the defects, and try to find vulnerabilities and fix them as soon as you can before you release the product to production. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Perfect. So the last question is, what would you recommend to CISO and CTOs when it comes to cloud security? Oren, you will start.
Thank you. So my recommendation for CISO is quite simple. Become active. Become proactive. Be more vigilant, okay? Don't wait. Today, getting hacked is not a question of if, it's a matter of time. So you need to be more aware. You need to be aware of your threat landscape. You need to be aware of your architecture. You need to know exactly on your compliance requirements. You need to know your business. I'm not talking about only the business perspective, which is important for CISO, but also how this encapsulate inside the organization. So having the right architecture and how this affects the business back and forth, top down and bottom up, that's what is important. So if I'm able to understand that if I have a vulnerability in a certain IT that sits on the cloud, in a SaaS service, in a Kubernetes, or in a platform as a service, anything in whichever cloud that I'm dependent upon, how this affects my business. So if I'm able to understand how these collaborate together, I'm able to understand the impact. And a CISO should understand his organization inside out and be able to see into the future. And having a good solution is like having a crystal ball, understanding and being aware, being up to date. And it's almost impossible to keep up to date with everything, and new patches, new update, everything. So you need to have the right tool at your disposal. And that's the way I would look at CISO and recommending him how to approach 2023.
Perfect. And the same question?
So I believe it's all about organization culture. CTO and CISO and the other C-level and stakeholders in the cloud need to build the right culture in the company, doing a lot of training, understanding, be prepared for that 0 day. Once you prepare, you can never, secure your environment 100%, but you can be prepared to what if you got hacked or got a kind of breach. And this is the most important thing, to know how to work together. Specifically, cloud environment that change rapidly. This is the I think the most challenged part for so in 2023, they hear a lot of different, approaches, post management, CNAP, supply chain, etc. And, they need to take care of all of that. They have a lot of responsibility under their hand. And once they're going to build, efficiency, and once they're going to build efficient, process in the company, it's going to be much more easier to handle all those things.
Wow, it's amazing. It's almost the same list that I have. I wrote here a few recommendations.
Great minds think alike,
Right. So in my top of the list, I wrote here how to create a security culture. I think you should train your employees and make them aware to all the security threats that are available today. And you need to show them a few examples about phishing, ransomware, and this is how they should learn to protect and not click on specific link. And implements, for example, in today's world, we are trying to develop a lot of cloud native application based on microservices architecture. So we need to find a way to manage all the microservices, especially if you have lots of them, right? So you need to implement tools like Service Mesh, like Istio, in order to manage your microservices and to secure them. With Istio, you can secure with mutual TLS your traffic between application services. And you need to scan your application at least twice a year to find all the security weaknesses that you have. Implement zero trust, as you mentioned. Automate security workflows as best as you can, and upskills your team. So guys, anything that you want to add specifically in cloud security challenges and something that the customers should aware or they should do?
I think
Chen,
that
go ahead.
we name most of the things I think customers should, you know, should be looking for is their daily work and find, you know, one tool to manage all the challenges. I know it's not a simple, you know, mission, but what what the most important thing, don't you know, purchase tools just to put them as on the shelf as insurance. It's not work like that, you know. Try to get the most from what you can buy from the tool itself. Work with the tools, understand exactly, you know, find the tool that will actually be what you're looking for, and not try just to buy a tool to say that you have tools without you know, security and compliance. I think that today it's very important that companies will look at their overhead and try to move to automation. You know, try to find virtual CISO to help them with the operation cost, with the overhead in the security, and all the other things that they need to, you know, do on a daily basis.
Great.
Oren, something?
Yes, I think what you said before, great mind think alike. So the continue of this sentence is, and fools seldom differs. So let us not be the fool. I want everybody that's watching this webinar to take something from it, okay? And everyone here spoke so exact, spoke to the word and exact thing that they should take with them. So act, be vigilant, be proactive, and definitely don't wait for the incident. That can happen. So becoming more aware and more proactive can help you prevent the next cyber attack, which will be mostly cloud focused. That's it.
Perfect. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Oren and Elimelech and Chen Goldberg, for sharing with us your insights and your experience about cloud security. So I hope that we'll see you in the next episode of Cloud Cost Optimization. Thanks
Thank
again
you.
for
Thank you.
watching. See you
Have a
next
good night.
time. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.